Okay, we got our snap rings installed. They should look like this on the outside of the input shaft. If you got it installed right. Okay, so the front bearing retainer goes on next. This is the front bearing retainer. I've already put some RTV black on this piece. Goes on this side, on the bolt holes and everything. Let that set and give it about 10 minutes. Now I'm going to slide this onto here. You notice it's machined out right here, and there is a hole in the transfer case housing right here. It's for oil flow, among other things. Make sure this and this line up. It's pretty much idiot proof because it won't go on any other way though, but just keep that in mind. To install this, the seal is very tight on the shaft. This is ATF, Dextron 2 or Dextron 3. Little bit brown chamfer, let it ooze, and that's all it takes. I'm going to grab this piece. Once again, watching my part right here. Wiggle, wiggle, push, slid right on. Okay, now slide it down right there. There we go. Beautiful. Now these bolts go in. I like to use blue Loctite and everything because I don't like things to shake themselves loose. Don't goop it all over it. You'll give yourself a headache if you have to go back in there. It takes just a drop. That might even be too much. There you go. That's all it takes. Now, just put these in here. That one started. What you're going to do is want to go around with a car tire and just slowly tighten it down. I'm going to do this by hand. I don't have a torque wrench that goes down to 16 foot-pounds, but that's what these should be tightened to. I know about what that should feel like. So I'm just going to go work these down by hand. Got my wrench. Tighten it. On to the next one. And all I'm doing is I'm just going around getting them tight. Not too tight. Shouldn't have to pull too hard. Remember the housing and this retainer piece, they're aluminum, so you can break them. You can strip them out. I recommend using a torque wrench if you have one. I don't have one, but I've done a lot of stuff like this in the past, so it shouldn't be too bad for me to tighten down just right. And see the RTV start to squish out. That's okay. We're going to flatten it out a little bit. Next one. I'm not yanking out hard. See, I'm using my palm. There, it stops right about there. Move on to the next one. Okay, what I'm doing now is I'm pre-lubing these bearings. And I'm pre-lubing these gears. There's a couple of holes down there where oil flows through, or I guess in this case ATF flows through. There's a needle bearing down there. You really want to get that stuff good and lubricated. I'm just using ATF, whatever the manual calls for. It's Dextron 2 or Dextron 3. And what we're going to do now is we're going to install the low range shift hub and the low range shift fork. So basically what you want to do is you'll go ahead, take this piece like this. These are your shift pads. If you replace these are in your kit. I didn't replace these, so they're fine. But that slides in there like that. This pin comes up like this. The part should be oriented like that. What you want is this pin to go into that slot down there. So all you're going to see me do is drop this in and swing that over. And I'll make sure that's all the way down in there. Everything's lined up, and that's it. That's all you got to do. install the shift rail, main shift fork, the main synchronizer. This piece slides onto here on top of the shift pads. This rod, which I've pre-lubed with ATF, slides through the lower range shift fork and all the way down into the case till its little home down there. And there it is. Everything lines up nice and smooth. Probably squirt a little ATF on this roller right here. Give it some lubrication. It's always good to have lubrication. And that's it for that. Next, main shaft. Okay, main shaft assembly. This goes in next. A little drop of ATF here. I've taken my high pressure gun. I squirted in here a few times, just like that. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to pre-lubricate these bearings that are inside this main shaft assembly so they don't run dry, basically. Now, it's probably going to get a little oozy on us. You can already see it's oozing out. Pick up this assembly like this. Hover it over. Gently drop it in. Oh, gotta rotate the fucking synchro. There it goes. When I wiggle it, make sure it's seated all the way. Okay. And that's that. Okay, now our chain goes in, along with this output shaft that goes to the front axle. So, lubricated that area because it slides into this bearing. I've lubricated this bearing a little bit so it spins nice, smooth. Kind of tricky here. Pick up your chain, take your shaft, straddle it like that. This is where it gets interesting. You got to kind of work it together. So you don't always want to go on or in. Wiggle, wiggle. You back this off a little bit, I didn't get it. Okay, there we go. Wiggle, wiggle. Now there's a little play in the chain. It's supposed to have a little play in it. Let's see. Almost there. There it goes. So it takes a little persuasion. Don't beat on it. Don't beat on it. That synchro's a little loose, so it's rubbing the teeth, but it's okay. It'll go away here in a second when I put the other end of the case on. Next, there's a spring that goes here, and a few other small parts, but you're about the halfway point, if not past that a little bit. So, yeah, should be smiling at you like that. Okay, cleaning off the magnet that sits inside the bottom of the case real quick. Okay, make sure this is good and clean, not a whole bunch of crap on it. So when you pulled it out during the teardown, I'm sure it was covered in metal flakes. This just slides in right there. That's its home. And the spring goes over right there, like that. And then you're almost ready to put the case on. There's a few more things you got to do, and we'll show you that next.